Yes, geezers. What are you saying? Speci here, and today we have got loads of details about the Golden Nekker project. That's right, 2022 is the year of the Golden Nekker. If you guys aren't familiar with the Golden Nekker project, we're going to be covering all of it, including all of the images we have from the game so far. That's right, game. We thought it was just going to be part of Gwent, but it has now been confirmed by this new IGN article that it is in fact going to be a standalone single player. So not a Witcher Tales like Thronebreaker, but some sort of game separate but linked with Gwent, which is probably a really good thing because there's going to be a bunch of advertising for this, you would imagine. A lot of more people will hop on this, and then therefore, if it's strongly linked with Gwent and Gwent is advertised quite heavily within the game, then a lot of people will hop on it. So it's not going to be like a Witcher Tales, that's confirmed, which was quite story-driven. It's much more likely to be gameplay-driven, I would imagine. Yeah, but let's read the article and then we can look at all the images that we've got, including the Golden Nekker, as well as like some of the, this looks like a potential menu screen. Yeah, let's have a little read of the article. IGN can reveal that The Witcher's Gwent is becoming a new single-player standalone game, codenamed Project Golden Nekker and set to launch in 2022. Now, this would suggest, like the wording of this kind of suggests that Gwent is changing into this. I don't think that's necessarily true. Obviously, we've had like the roadmap for Gwent, which is here. We know we've got a whole year of card releases in 2022, and it's quite likely that one of these will be tied with the Golden Nekker, as this article sort of predicts. We don't have anything for 2023, but obviously if this game is very successful, that's lots of free advertising for Gwent, and so I don't think this means that it's not replacing Gwent, but this is perhaps what Jason Slaughter's been working on. We know he's been working on something. This could be it. We don't know, but this is definitely like a big project that they're working on, not just like something on the side, which is probably why it's taken so bloody long. And it's set to launch in 2022. Cool. Project Golden Nekker is currently under development within CD Projekt Red's Gwent team and aims to provide a captivating single-player experience, different to previous versions of the digital card game. Project Golden Nekker will be a completely standalone game and won't require players to own any other versions of Gwent to get the full experience. Gwent was a fan favourite minigame included within The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but evolved into a standalone multiplayer game in 2017, I think it's supposed to be. In turn, Gwent got its own spin-off 2 years later with the excellent The Witcher Tales Thronebreaker. Project Golden Nekker will be something else entirely, according to Gwent comms lead Pavel Berger. It's not another Witcher Tales, but something different, he said. We're aiming to provide a captivating single player for players who prefer it over competitive multiplayer Gwent. Okay, so it's going to be a single player, but it's not a Witcher Tales, so it's very likely instead of to be story-driven, more gameplay-driven, and that's why this game is drawing potentially a lot of comparisons to Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire is a single-player card game which I've never played personally. I've been meaning to try it out for a long time, but essentially you build your deck as you go, and you try and get further and further on in the quest, if you like, and your deck gets stronger, your opponents get stronger, but it's a single-player gameplay-driven game. A lot of deck building involved, and all those sorts of things. And I think a lot of people had problems with Thronebreaker, that they enjoyed the story, but then the gameplay wasn't balanced, or they enjoyed the gameplay, but they didn't like the story. This is just much more gameplay focused. So for fans of Gwent, as opposed to fans of the Witcher world, this is probably a big appeal, but it's still, I'm sure, going to have some sort of story. If it's a single player CD Projekt Red game, we know that's where they really do excel. So, although it's not the first time we've learned that it's an entirely new game, CD Projekt Red has been quietly teasing the project for several months, dropping hints on Gwent streams and community podcasts. In a developer update streamed during Gwent World Masters 3 in December, the game's esports finals, game developer Vladimir Torsov said an official reveal of the game is coming soon. He said, "We want to announce stuff we're working on when the time is right." Continuing, "I'm really excited about this project coming together, and I hope you like it as much as I do." So they've got all the card arts and leaks here, which I've got like high-res versions of, which we'll show you just after we finish the tutorial. Finish the article. It's not a tutorial. Torsov also revealed new concept art for the game to go alongside the handful of images already teased, all of which can be viewed in the gallery above, along with a new image of the Barbarian that IGN can reveal for the first time. 4 of the images, the Barbarian, the Golden Nekker, Living Fire, and Fire Elemental are in the style of Gwent cards, meaning this could be a first look at some of the playable units in Project Golden Nekker. The other two appear to be environment art of some kind, featuring a library with a lurking Golden Nekker and a marketplace. When The Witcher Tales Thronebreaker released, new cards in the standalone game were also added to the multiplayer version of Gwent, meaning these new cards will likely be added to that game as well. The 2022 Gwent roadmap has already revealed that there are new cards are due to be released in April, July, October, and December, and every Witcher game has been released in either May or October in the past. That means, assuming the cards appear in Gwent the Witcher card game alongside the new standalone game, it's very possible that Project Golden Nekker will release in October 2022. So this guy, Ryan Disdale, is a freelance writer for IGN. He's predicted that October 2022 is the main release date, and that's because there's no card release in May, but there is one in October, and apparently every Witcher game has been released in either May or October, which is news to me. I wasn't familiar with that, but that's pretty cool. There's also a card drop in December, which I'm hiding at the moment. Okay, so big flipping news, guys. Project Golden Nekker it is here. We've seen a lot of these arts already before, so let's really focus here on the new one, the Barbarian. It looks like some kind of guy out in Skellige. I feel like there's probably a lot to unpack with this new art. Obviously got this blue paint, which kind of, as soon as I saw it, sort of reminded me of the Melusine cultist. It's certainly not the same guy. This is a drum, whereas the Barbarian has a shield. But you know, Skellige would be the most likely bet on this. Obviously with his shield, some sort of emblem here as well on his chest. There's some tattoos of blue, but again, like the whole armor, and also like the style of the armor as well. If any of you guys have any ideas of like more hints on what this guy could be, he's also got a kilt, mate. He's got a kilt, which is pretty cool. Some sort of axe. Yeah, so if you guys have got any ideas about this specific card, anything that we're missing out, obviously arrows being rained down on him and he's blocking him with his shield. Very, very cool art indeed. And yeah, as the article pointed out, this is in the style of a Gwent card, so it's very possible and very likely, similar to Thronebreaker, how these Gwent arts will double down as cards within Gwent the Witcher card game as well. And obviously if this is like a big standalone game, which I mean has just been revealed to be the case, maybe you might just see some of the already existing Gwent arts go into that game. That would also make a lot of sense. And they're quite likely to have different abilities with it being a single player game. Now obviously Gwent started off as a single player experience within The Witcher 3. So I think there's a massive appeal to a single player attempt at a standalone Gwent game. Obviously Thronebreaker was an attempt. I actually have still never finished Thronebreaker, like confession time. I keep meaning to. But I think what Thronebreaker sort of didn't nail was the gameplay and the story. It was kind of, you know, the story was good, but it was also quite stripped back in terms of the way it was presented. It wasn't a AAA game, you know, it was lots of cutscenes. And while that appeals to some people, it also, you know, the vast majority of people that enjoy The Witcher 3 are more casual players, and they'll skip a lot of the dialogue and they'll just want to do the action parts. Now, obviously, the people that came from Gwent really want that high-level gameplay, and I think the balance was quite off. But also, let's not forget, like, Thronebreaker was released at the same time as Gwent went from beta to being completely redesigned. And if you go back and watch some videos of Gwent when it first came, when it was first released, the game was not in a great state. So there was a lot going on at that time. So I think this is a really nice direction. I'm glad they've gone for a single player approach, but I'm also glad they've moved away from the Witcher Tales and just gone for something that's more gameplay driven, as you would assume this is. So I'm really, really excited for this. If there's lots of replayability, you can be sure I'm going to be playing this a whole bunch. So yeah, this is the place to be if you guys are looking forward to more Golden Nekker content. Let's take a look at all the other images that we've had so far. But before we do that, let's just quickly recap the article of the new things we've learned. A new single-player standalone game is set to launch in 2022. It's in development within CD Projekt Red's Gwent team, and it aims to provide a captivating single-player experience. It's a standalone game. It won't require players to own any other versions of Gwent to get the full experience. And it's not another Witcher Tales game, but something different. We're aiming to provide a captivating single player for players who prefer it over competitive multiplayer Gwent. Now, I would assume, again, this quote here is a pretty big one, a captivating single player experience, basically, where it doesn't use the word experience, but prefer it over competitive multiplayer Gwent. Like, this would strongly suggest it's single player Gwent, right? Which means same boards, same, you know, visuals, like lots of new card backs and art all should be coming then into Gwent, because all these things can just be used over in Gwent. It's going to be free advertising for Gwent. We always talk about Gwent needing more advertisement. Well, this is it, mate. Like, Thronebreaker was something that was great, but also the time Thronebreaker came out, Gwent wasn't in a great spot, whereas now it is, right? I think this is really, really, really exciting. We want to announce stuff that we're working on when the time is right. I'm really excited about this project coming together, and I hope you like it as much as I do. So yeah, and we've got this new art, the Barbarian. So, and then finally, the predicted release date is October 2022. Certainly not set in stone, but it does say it's going to be a 2022 release. So very, very excited. Let's take a look at all the arts we have on this game so far. This looks to be a menu of sorts. We've got obviously the golden Nekker in the background, chilling there. We've got all sorts of stuff on the walls. Kind of reminds me of like the laboratory and the classroom from the Gwent journey from Aretusa. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like another video where I really go in depth on all of these arts, because now we've got like an official like announcement of like what the game is that's going to be a standalone. I think it's really time to like for us to really start diving into these arts individually. So obviously we've got a map down here as well, which looks to be like the continent, right? With Temeria, Redania, all these sorts of places. A book with a key. Obviously, just seems like a menu, right, of some sort. We've got the Golden Nekker image itself. We've got the Barbarian just released. And then the other arts we've got a Living Fire, which again, these are very likely to be Gwent cards. We have a Fire Elemental, as well as then finally, last but not least, a Marketplace, which sort of looks to be Novigrad. Like, I know Novigrad's got a lot of elevation and stuff like that. Now, this could be a location. It could just be a card, right? But it definitely doesn't look like the style of a normal Gwent card. Like, normally a Gwent card has a focus, but we do also have locations, right? So, I mean, it could easily be a location, you know, like a Marketplace location card. So yeah, pretty excited. I guess like the other thing to note though is in terms of the image, like these are wider images, whereas all the Gwent cards are this size of image, whereas this one is a wider image. But it is kind of Gwent style, you know, still like. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys want me to cover more Project Nekker stuff, where we really like look into each of these images, I think this one in particular has probably got quite a lot going on that we can try and unpick. If you guys are interested in that kind of thing, please let me know. Very excited for this project. Obviously, I'm going to be covering it on the channel, so this is the place to be if you want more Project Golden Nekker news and when it comes out, gameplay. Thanks for watching. Like the video. Comment down below. What do you think on the Barbarian? Is there anything that we can glean from this? And then if there's anything really exciting, I'll post an update video about it and give and share all of the people in the chat's thoughts and comments. Same with the Marketplace and I think the Golden Nekker image as well. Yeah, obviously when this was released, it was Gwent Masters. There was like card drop. There was all sorts going on. It was Christmas, so we haven't actually covered it in that much detail on the channel, but definitely excited to jump into that kind of thing. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video. Deuces.